everybody, and welcome to Season 2.
It's Season 2, you guys. Welcome back.
Hey, I hope y'all did not go crazy waiting a whole month for us to come back.
But no worries. If you did, we're back.
We're back.
We're back to bring you front and center.
Back again. I'm Bev.
And I'm Diz.
And this is Season 2 of
Trigger Warning.
Diz is going to start us out with some stuff.
Yes, I sure am.
We're just going to jump into this because, you know what? We already made you wait.
Yeah,
So
we're not going to make you wait. There's only one thing I'm going to do.
What's
I'm going
that?
to tell you the trigger warnings.
Oh my gosh, because that's a good idea. We should, you know what? We're starting the season out right.
We're doing good. We're
We
doing
are.
really good.
Yeah, I wonder
the things.
wonder which one of us is going to screw up first and forget that.
I think we'll probably do it at the same time. Like one of us. I don't know.
I think it'll be me.
I think it's just because it's literally in my notes first, so I remember to do it.
I think I should do that so I don't screw up first.
I'll share my note format with you.
Oh, thanks. All right.
All right, guys. So main thing for trigger warnings, death, because, hello, trigger warnings.
This
it
is
usually
our
has
podcast.
something to do with death.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is a disaster, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about
disastrous stuff.
But like dead body descriptions after a disaster. Like there's going to be talk, like the aftermath of the disaster.
Okay.
And it will include some
kind of graphic.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you guys ready? Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready. See, they just said yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay.
They're so excited, don't you know?
Here we go. Oh my gosh, you guys are so amazing. Okay.
What a great audience.
You guys are the best. Thank you for coming back. Okay, for real now. We're going to get started.
Okay.
So we're going to Peshtigo, Wisconsin in 1871.
We're going in the way back.
We're going to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
So this little town is out in the frontier. It's like 250 miles from Chicago. That's like the nearest big city to it. Not that that's the only city, but that's the nearest big one.
Right.
And the town it crosses a river called the Peshtigo River.
That's it's original. I like it.
It's different, right? Now, at the time, the population's just over 1,700 people.
This is 1871. Actually more than I would have expected. Okay.
Now, the population increases and decreases because there's immigrants that are coming to work in the lumber industry, the manufacturing industry, or the railroad. Those are the three main industries in that area, and pretty much anywhere at that time.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the railroad runs through it, that's how it made a town.
Now, they had German and Scandinavian immigrants that came and settled just west of Peshtigo, and it's in an area of dense forest, and it's called hardwoods, and the name of it was called the Sugar Bush.
Oh, that sounds
Don't ask me
sweet.
why. Right? So they kind of settled there, and by 1871, it is the most developed settlement in that area. Peshtigo is the place to go.
It's like the big city-ish there.
It's like Chicago for right there, sort of.
Right.
But not actually at all.
Yeah, it's a happening place.
So William Butler Ogden was born June 1805 in Walton, New York. And by the mid-1830s, he's very wealthy, and he ends up buying thousands of acres of forest out in that area. He ends up building a sawmill, a woodenware factory, which is just basically anything that's made from wood, like utensils, spoons, bowls, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He also built a boarding house and a dry goods store. So those are your main...
Also things made of wood.
Yes. In 1837, he becomes the first mayor of Chicago. So he owns this land out here, but he's still in Chicago.
Okay.
Making more money. He is a railroad baron practically because he buys the Galena and Chicago Union Railroad. It's in bankruptcy, so he buys it out and becomes the first president of that railroad in 1847. So that's 10 years after he's the mayor.
Uh-huh.
Then in 1859, he creates the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad from the remains of the Chicago St. Paul Railroad and the Fond du Lac Railroad. Fancy. And he
Very.
was also the first president then.
Okay.
He spearheaded the first transcontinental railroad, which becomes known as the Union Pacific Railroad,
Oh, that I've heard of. Okay.
and becomes the first president in 1862.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, the main industries there are lumber manufacturing and the railroad. So he's buying forest, right? So lumber is like the main export he has,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a
And he's
lot of
shipping it on his railroads.
that's right. So they have like oak, like every tree: oak, maple, ash, elm, cedar, spruce, pine, and birch.
Wow.
Those are all the kinds of trees that are there, and they use it for the town buildings, homes, the barns, even like a boardwalk that they make, which I think is essentially like a sidewalk for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the old western towns, you know,
Yeah.
you could walk across like
Yeah.
the front porch of the buildings, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Like
they,
you see in Western movies.
yeah,
Yeah. That's cool.
and they also even use the sawdust on the floors
Okay.
to like make it not slippery. You know, it's
Yeah.
sawdust, which to me things I think it would be slippery, but that's what they used.
Okay.
Now in Peshtigo, it's the home of the largest woodenware factory where they make the bowls and the spoons and all that stuff.
Right.
And so other than just the trees, then they have a huge factory using the wood, and then they can export it everywhere else as well.
Mm-hmm.
During this time, farmers would have to cut down trees to get them out of the way to create an area for their crops.
Right.
And they did it with the slash and burn method,
Of course they did.
which for you guys don't know, it's they basically just cut down the trees and any vegetation, they burn it, and then they plant their crops. So at this time, the Chicago and Northwestern Railway extension was still under construction because they're still trying to make it across the U.S. So workers are going in, cutting down the trees that are in the way of the railroad,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they would burn
Silly
them.
nature in the way of
I
progress.
know, like get out! Come on now, get out of the way,
Get out of the way,
trees.
trees. We don't need you. We're
So
trying
now
to
they
put
didn't
tracks.
always burn the trees. Sometimes they would just like leave it to the side,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have steam engine machines working,
Mm-hmm.
and there would be sparks, and it would ignite this wood, this tree timber that are to the side that they hadn't burned yet. So they would have like little fires pop up here and there.
Okay.
Also, this summer there was a bad drought.
Oh boy. That's
So
not good.
everything's dry. The buildings are dry because everything's made from the wood. The trees are dry. The land is
The
dry.
underbrush is dry.
So
The-
all
yeah.
through the summer and the fall, they have little fires that break out, which is not unheard of, but especially since they're not taking care of the trees and the sparks are coming off of the machines and igniting everything.
Wow.
So the
This is
citizens
not good.
who live nearby, they're like, oh, shoot, because it's happening quite often.
This is called foreshadowing.
Yes. They begin burying like their most valued possessions in the ground so that it won't catch fire. So like they still go about their normal day, but they will like family heirlooms or whatever, depending on what it is, they would actually bury in the ground. So
Oh.
it would stay safe.
Oh wow.
Another
Are
thing,
like wooden heirlooms or just any heirlooms?
just any heirlooms.
Okay.
And anything that was valuable to them. So it may not have been an heirloom. By this time, because of all the little fires that keep coming,
Mm-hmm.
popping up, they're used to the smell of like ash
Mm-hmm.
and the sight of smoke in the air. So they
Okay.
don't think much of it when they do see it.
They're like, oh no, another
like-
one.
So let us begin the day of infamy. On Sunday, October 8th, 1871, everyone in the town of Peshtigo goes about their normal Sunday activities. Some go to church. They're doing whatever they normally do. Some would say that they had a feeling of impending doom, but
Mm.
they didn't know what was why.
Uh-huh.
But most of them didn't think much of it. They'd go. They even went that evening, had dinner, like at the little cafe area or whatever. So As evening begins to fall, they see a red glow in the western part of the sky. So they're obviously going to know it's a fire, but that's not abnormal.
Right.
However,
And if it's western, they were probably thinking the sun setting.
possibly, but I think they knew the difference between the sun setting and the fire.
Okay.
But it doesn't say anything specific about, oh, we thought it was the sun.
I would think, okay, that's a fire, but maybe it looks bigger because
because of the
in
sun.
that direction.
That's a good point, yeah.
Like,
But
maybe
this
it looks like it's big because of the glow, like, from the sun setting. I
Right,
don't know.
that's true. That could make it like that. The biggest issue is that a really hard wind starts to blow through.
Oh, that's not good.
It carries dust, ash, and sparks from the fire on the wind. We have an eyewitness account. Father Peter Pernin, he was the pastor in the city, and he wrote that around 8:30 p.m., the wind had been blowing for a while. There was a dense cloud of smoke that covered most of the area, and that the red glow could be seen above the smoke. So, like,
Oh,
if you looked
That's
out, you could
definitely
see
not the
the
sunset
the
now.
layer of that's right. And he said you could hear a distant roar.
Oh, that's scary.
So the wind's blowing, it's sweeping through the area. It's getting so harsh now, it's ripping up fences and gates and blowing them away. So everyone's like going home, getting ready for bed, getting out from the wind because it's 8 something at night. By 10 p.m., the air has become toxic and non-breathable.
Oh, wow.
It said, quote, everything from homes to horses was on fire. High winds blew people off their feet as they scrambled through the streets. So everyone's realizing the fire is very close. We need to get the heck out of here. So everyone's coming out. They're trying to run wherever they think they can go. They said that a sheet of flame blew through the forest. So it's like it came as a sheet through the forest,
Oh, my gosh.
right? And so they're running around. The hot air from the flames is scorching their lungs as they're trying to breathe and
Probably hot
screaming.
enough to just ignite things on its own.
Mm-hmm. The smoke and the dust blinded them while they tried to run around. The sparks from the fires flew through the air and set hair and clothes on fire as they're
Ugh.
trying to run away.
That's terrifying.
And they can't see anything, but so the roaring wind, the heat, the smoke, and then people running in all different directions because they can't see what they're doing, panic and confusion. Just mass panic and confusion. Street is full. They don't know what they're doing, who they have near them. Families are getting separated because they can't keep with the kids and each other and all that. And a lot of them actually die just trying to escape.
Oh, wow. That is so
While
scary.
they're running, most of them couldn't keep their eyes open because of the smoke and the heat.
Mhm.
So they were literally blind, running, trying to keep up with each other. There was also people who had vehicles of sorts. They're trying to drive through the streets in these vehicles and hitting each other. And I'm thinking probably hitting people as well,
Yeah.
trying to get away
And, like,
from
their
this.
horses are probably hitting other, like, running people over and
Well, you
can't
would think
see,
the
and they're
horses would just
panicking
freak out and not even want to
Yeah.
do anything, or they would just run.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's so scary and sad.
there was a reporter for the Milwaukee Journal. His name is Robert W. Wells, and he wrote a book called The Peshtigo Fire that was published back in like 1968. And the foreword of the book kind of gives you an idea of the situation. It says, everyone has heard of the Great Chicago Fire, but few have heard of another fire going on in Wisconsin and Michigan at the same time. The Peshtigo Fire killed 5 times as many people as that in Chicago. It was one of the worst tragedies of its kind ever recorded in North America, and it still is,
Mm-hmm.
even today. So
I forgot that it took place at the same time as the
it was
Chicago
the same
Fire.
night.
But
It was
Chicago was just such a big city, that's why everybody
Right.
knew about that one.
Yeah, and there's another reason too, but we'll talk about that near the end. But so Wells in his book is explaining that basically there was a column of superheated air that broke through the heavier layer of smoke and rose into the cool air above, creating a updraft, which resulted effectively into a fire tornado. That is what was hitting the town.
Wow.
Was a fire tornado, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't, when I read that,
That's so scary.
Terrifying. Okay, so we know everything's burning, and so we have some more eyewitness stories from some of the little, like this is from the Shawano Journal in Marinette, Wisconsin, which was a nearby town. This was actually 43 years later that they published this, but there was a Mr. Dietrich who had gone to Green Bay with a neighbor named John Lemick, and when they were returning, they could see at Mr. Dietrich's brother's home, his brother's wife, and their kids were already dead from the fire. Their bodies were charred beyond recognition, and they were leaning up against a tree when they come back from their Green Bay trip.
Yeah.
Also, they could see the cows, horses, and chickens were all dead, and they were piled up along the ditch in a, quote, great heap, because they were trying to get away as well.
Right.
Which is always sad. And they said that they had found their way home by the light of the burning trees. So they said it was specifically the tamarack trees, which in my head is like a pine tree, because it's a tree that has needles, and they're pretty bright green, and they fall off in the fall and winter, and they're in the northern regions, but they don't specifically call them a pine tree.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's just a different kind of tree, but that's what it's in my head.
Yeah.
And it's needles.
I guess if it has needles, but they fall off, then it's not a type of evergreen, because if the needles fall off.
That's true. But, anyway, so those were burning, and that is how they found their way back to the town. Because there's smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just in one area. Like, the smoke is going everywhere, because those winds are still blowing. Yeah. We also have an account from Chief Will McDonnell. He saw a mother dig a hole in the field that they had been plowing, and she buried herself and her kids in the hole to try to get away from the fire. And when the fire would come over them, they would bury their face into the dirt, and they would almost smother every time. But they had to try to do it, because they would breathe, and they would, like, raise their head, but it was so hot you couldn't hardly breathe.
Right. Because it would scorch your lungs.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Another account that we have, there was a man named August Bartel. He was out in the woods, because he had kind of a clearing out, but it was like the deep, deep woods. I don't know exactly how far out he was. He never saw the fire, never saw the smoke or anything. In fact, he didn't even know it had happened until it was all over and he was back in the town. He didn't even know that there was a fire.
He came back to a town that was basically burnt
Nothing.
down.
Exactly.
That's insane. He must have been pretty far out, or just upwind or whatever. So,
and I don't know if it's mountainous or anything. I really didn't look up the topography of it or anything, but you would think he had to have been deep.
Upwind, so he didn't smell the smoke or anything like that.
And the smoke didn't make its way to him.
Oh God, can you imagine that feeling? That
you're just out doing your thing in the woods.
You were in a nightmare or something. That had to be surreal.
That would be, like you wouldn't even think that it was real.
Yeah.
That would be horrifying.
And everybody that you know basically would be dead.
Yeah.
Or gone. Like, the people who did escape would be, just gone. And how would you know which ones were which?
That's exactly right. Unless they had, like, jewelry on that didn't melt in the fire or something that was a way of knowing. So there was also, in another newspaper in one of the other cities nearby in 1914, they published a little article about it. And I'm going to tell you a quote. It said, quote, "The flames would insidiously work their way into the swamps." Sorry, I didn't know what that word was for a second. It's not what it was on my notes. So anyway, into the swamps and develop almost a furnace heat, actually burning from 1 to 3 feet into the ground and completely burning out the peat, roots, and alluvial soil, leaving nothing but ashes and the subsoil sand. So the alluvial soil is just soil that is deposited by moving water. So it's near rivers and streams, and usually in floodplains and deltas and stuff like that, where water is moving quite often. And usually it's just like sand and silt and clay
If it's burning up peat and swamps and stuff,
in
then
a swamp.
yeah.
Yeah. They also said, quote, "The whole air was filled with a dense, suffocating smoke, almost obscuring the vision over a tract of hundreds of square miles." End quote. Quote, "The sun shone down through the smoke with a red, angry glare, and the heavens at night would be illuminated on every side with the holocaust of fire." End quote.
Wow.
They could really
They,
speak back
they
then.
could, man. I'm telling you, newspapers from the 1800s, they
It's
knew how
so
to write.
fancy. Even like the
Yeah.
farmers, the people that you wouldn't think would be
Oh, I know.
super
Educated.
eloquent and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the night is spent trying to survive, trying to get out of the smoke and the heat, keep your family together, and everything. Finally, Monday, October 9th arrives. Dawn arrives. The entire city of Peshtigo, except a brick kiln and a partially constructed house of fresh timber, is completely destroyed. The
Jeez.
ground is a scorched wasteland. The ground burned. There are holes in the ground where trees were burned top to bottom all the way to the end of the roots
Holy
into the
crap.
ground. Patches of sand melted into glass.
Oh my gosh.
Railroad cars had been tossed around by the wind. The church bell was melted,
Oh wow.
and pretty much all of the animals died,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And someone said that they had seen birds trying to escape, but they would either burn up in midair
Oh my gosh.
or they would get sucked into the tornado, like from all the winds, and burn up in the winds. I know it was pretty
That
horrible.
is heartbreaking.
So the survivors. Sorry, I'm clapping my leg because it's just awful. Okay, so many of them are barely clothed because their clothing is getting burned.
Right.
They're blinded. Some
Hmm.
throats are burned. Throats are raw from the smoke and the heat. They can't talk very well because of their burnt throats. They're trying to find family members and friends and neighbors, but this is bad, you guys. Some of the people were burned to ash, and the ashes blew away on the winds.
They were basically cremated.
So they were cremated and just blown away in the wind. The largest group of survivors were able to survive by hiding in a low marshy area on the east side of the river. But the fire had been so hot that they had to stay submerged in the water and only surface to breathe here and there because it was so hot. That's the only way they wouldn't get burned. Now, I was like, what's the difference between marshes and swamps? Because the swamps like
Right.
burned up, right?
Right.
So marshes are treeless and they're covered usually with grass and other like herbaceous plants.
Okay.
A swamp is forested and has trees and like woody shrubs.
Okay.
So that is the difference. Because to me, they kind of are the same
Yeah,
thing.
I've always thought of it as the same thing.
So there you go. Mainly the
Learn
marshes don't
something
have
new every
trees.
day.
So that actually helped. Okay, so survivors have survived the night. They have barely any clothing on their bodies. Family members, friends, and neighbors are dead. They have no food, no shelter. The heat of the fire is finally cooling because it's finally starting to cool down some.
Hmm.
Now we're in October in Wisconsin, though.
Oh gosh.
So
So
now
we're
they're
gonna go
having
from
to
an
deal.
inferno and like the devil's butthole heat to
Yes,
like the top of Everest cold.
exactly. So the average highs back then, or well, I can't say back then because no one has any information, but now the average highs would be like 57 to 62 degrees Fahrenheit or 13.9 to 16.7 Celsius. The lows would be 32 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 to 7.2 Celsius. So after that monstrous heat, now they have,
Heat hot enough to cremate a human being
yes,
and blow them away on wind
yes,
to freezing.
to like 40s and below.
Yeah. That's, just the extreme difference.
And they don't have clothes on their body like they would.
Right.
They barely have rags on them right now.
They have no shelter just to hide out in from
right.
cool wind or anything.
Nothing.
Half of the survivors are wet from hanging out in marshland.
That in cold water.
Yeah. And what
there's
clothing
water
they
there.
do have is wet because that's what they had on their bodies. Everything
And
else
they've
has
just
been
been through
up.
a horrific
Right.
situation.
They're in shock.
They're in shock. There's part of families that are not even together. Kids
Yeah.
may not be with their own family. So there was also lots of bodies, unfortunately. Some reports told of a father, mother, and 2 kids that were seen. Their clothes were burned away completely. All right, this is graphic, you guys. The bodies were shriveled to 2/3 their usual size.
Ugh.
They also saw a child kneeling with his head bent like he's praying, and he was completely burned. There were groups of bodies.
That reminds me of Pompeii.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's a different situation, but almost frozen in position.
Because they're more like a mannequin look almost,
Yeah.
and these are just really charred remains.
Mm-hmm.
They found groups of bodies throughout, and some even had some of the limbs burned off.
Mm-hmm.
They estimate that the fire burned to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 1,093.3333333 degrees Celsius.
Jeez.
So 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. There were about 70 bodies of people found in the streets, along with like the horses, dogs, and cattle, all throughout the town. Now, 7 miles away is Marinette, Wisconsin, and they also had a little bit of fire damage, but nothing like Peshtigo. And they actually opened up their hotels and homes as hospitals to treat survivors because Peshtigo had nothing, and I think they were the closest neighbors to them, basically. Another issue.
And still 7 miles.
7 miles.
That's a lot when you have nothing.
You literally are walking.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that they...
I guess people probably came to help.
Because they knew, like, where the fire was going, that kind of thing. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Now, the telegraph lines, Peshtigo had them, but they were all burned down.
Right.
The nearest working telegraph was 45 miles away in Green Bay. 2 days after the fire, the governor, Lucius Fairchild, finally learns about the fire in Peshtigo. Now, he is already en route with supplies to go to Chicago.
Right.
Okay? To help the survivors of the Great Chicago Fire that had happened the same night. His wife is with him, and she's like, this is horrible.
So he's the governor of Wisconsin, but he was going to help Chicago
and Illinois.
Okay.
That is correct.
Because he learned of it first, of course.
Right. So his wife, Frances, she's with him, and she's like, this is awful, horrible situation. She has an entire train car that was loaded with food and supplies rerouted to Peshtigo.
Okay.
So that's still been 2 days.
Yeah.
But at least it's something for them. She also...
And Peshtigo's a smaller population.
Yeah,
so...
At the most 2,000 people. I don't think it even got to 2,000. Yeah.
And
afterwards it definitely wasn't. But...
Yeah, and I was going to say after everybody had died, then definitely there weren't that many people there. So
she was pretty awesome because she even had a blanket drive and sent all of the bedding donations to Peshtigo so they could have blankets because it's freaking October at this time. And the governor asks the entire nation, the U.S., for food and supplies to be donated, and they did. Like, tons of food and supplies were donated for Peshtigo.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Now, like we said, the Peshtigo fire was overshadowed by the Great Chicago Fire. It occurred the same night. The Chicago fire started in a barn.
Hmm.
They can't agree on exactly what caused it.
They think it was Miss O'Leary's cow, but
That
they
is
aren't
correct,
sure.
but they don't really know if that's
Yeah.
accurate. Now, the Chicago fire actually burned for more than 24 hours
Hmm.
and it went through the heart of Chicago. It killed about 300 people, although they only recovered like 120 bodies there.
Hmm.
And one third of the city's population was left homeless after that. So that's pretty big because
It
that's
is, yeah.
anywhere from 90 to 100,000 people at that time that were
Right.
homeless.
Because it was a huge city.
So over like 24 hours after that fire, it rained and finally put the fire out. So that helped stop the spread of the Chicago fire. The primary area burned was the central business district, and it was an area 4 miles long and 1 mile wide. And it's thought that over 17,000 buildings were burned and destroyed,
Wow.
and 73 miles of their actual street was burned. Damages probably around 200 million then, which would be over 4.6 billion today.
4.6 billion?
Billion with a
Billion with a
B.
B.
Yes.
Wow.
The Peshtigo fire, it burned 1.2 to 1.5 million acres.
Oh, God.
This was an area
Wow.
10 miles wide and 40 miles long. The city burned down completely except for those two buildings
Structures, yeah.
in an hour. It
One
burned in 1
hour?
hour. Everything burned. It's estimated, so they think 800 people died in Peshtigo. The total estimate of lost lives is anywhere from 1,200 to 2,400 because there were other areas that also got hit, but just
Yeah.
none as bad and harsh
Right.
as Peshtigo. The damages they thought were about 169 million
Hmm.
then, which is just under 4.6 billion in today's money. And this they included like damage to the property in the forests,
Uh-huh.
and they lost 2 million trees and saplings
Oh,
in the fire.
wow.
One interesting
Think of how
thing,
the wild animals that were killed, too.
they also like they would see like the iron and stuff of the train, like the wheels and stuff, that's what was left that they could see, like above ground. Everything else was just flattened and
Just
burnt
melted and burned.
and
And
ash and
yeah.
everything. As with most disasters like this, we do actually learn lessons.
Right.
They definitely became more aware of just how destructive wildfires could be,
Mm-hmm.
and they also learned about land management. They learned about how bad it is to excessively clear an area, the slash and burn, the not taking care of the trees on the side of the road,
Right.
essentially, the logging itself.
Yeah, basically just leaving all that debris laying there, like waiting to burn.
Waiting, exactly. They
Yeah.
also learned about weather impact because there had been
Mm-hmm.
a really bad drought.
Yeah.
So they knew if it's a drought, we need to be more careful with fire,
Right.
which we all know that now. We even have like burn bans and stuff in
Right.
some areas
Yeah.
where
We
you
had,
can't burn
yeah.
anything.
I mean, I live kind of in a rural area, and
Hmm.
we've, yeah, several times in the last few summers and stuff, there have been burn bans, and they raise and lower the fire alert levels and
Right.
stuff. And we've had wildfires in our area.
Yes, we have. Oh my gosh, that is a scary thing to
Mm-hmm.
see.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
is.
they've been small compared to this.
Yeah.
They also learn about better forecasting of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always good, and we still, of course,
Yeah. Now, of
enjoy
course, we
that.
have, yeah. Now we have radar and all kinds of stuff. So.
I think the biggest thing though is the public awareness of fires and fire safety and prevention.
Yeah.
They
And now buildings are also made. I mean, they still have wood in them, but they're also made of all kinds of different stuff, and they have more
fire
fireproofing and
Yes,
that kind of
exactly.
thing.
And they let communities learn how to better take care of the buildings and build the new buildings.
Hmm.
And they started coming up with fire safety plans because
Right.
there's nothing in place back then.
Right.
If there's a fire, whatever.
What do you do?
And
Yeah.
especially since it was like 10 o'clock at night that it pretty much hits Peshtigo, people are asleep.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like you said, they were like, well, we can't be outside right now because the smoke's bothering us.
Yeah.
Let's go to bed.
And it's October, so it's dark already.
Yeah.
At 8.
Yeah.
It's dark way earlier than that. So it was just a bunch of different things that came together into a perfect storm to make this horrible situation.
And then a fire tornado in the middle of all of it added to it. And, I mean, when you get that kind of heat, it kind of creates its own weather.
Well, yeah, because there's wind from the heat.
Yeah.
So you have the wind blowing through, and you have the wind that's kind of created from the fire.
Right.
Ugh.
It's terrifying. And fire scares me anyway.
It scares me, too.
Yeah.
So does water, but fire scares me, too.
Yeah. Ugh.
So that's pretty much all I have for that this time. It's kind of a short one, but it was an intense one, and I didn't want to...
Yeah, I've heard about Peshtigo. I didn't remember a lot of that, but it was, I forgot that it was on the same night as the Great Chicago Fire.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, Peshtigo was bad, and it's crazy that, like, they asked for donations from all over the U.S., and people still forgot that it even happened.
Right?
It's like, oh yeah, we need to send stuff to them.
But Chicago was so big.
Yeah. And I'm sure they reported on the Chicago Fire for weeks and weeks after.
Well, and the fact that the telegraph lines were down and it was 45 miles away before they could even get a telegraph out.
Right.
And in one of the sources, it was talking about, I forget who it was that actually sent the telegraph. Mm-hmm. But, they had to get there.
Right.
45 miles away.
They probably had to walk the 7 miles to the next town and then borrow somebody's horse.
Yeah.
And then, like, drive the horse drive the horse,
Start the horse, put the gas in, drive the horse.
Yeah, then the turn signal didn't work, and so they had to
It was basically, they were like, it is hell here, we need help.
Yeah.
Is essentially what he sent.
Yeah.
And they sent help.
Yeah.
It was just 2 whole days. 48 hours is a long ass time.
Yeah, it is when you basically been through hell, literally. Like,
and you're freezing.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's such a weird dichotomy to be like, we've been through hell and now we're freezing to death.
Which is also hell.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's so scary.
And even in the daytime when the sun is out, it's weak. It's not shining through that smoke anytime soon.
Right.
So it's
and everything is smoking.
Very weak for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even during the day.
And I would be terrified of starting a fire.
Heck yeah.
Like, to stay warm. I'd be like, I'm not lighting anything
we're going to all sit side by side because I'm not starting anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even in the 50s to the 60s can be cold because it's October.
Yeah.
And that's if
and
it's
the
even
humidity is low, so it's
chilly. It's that high.
And if the
day.
wind is blowing, it's chilly,
And if it's cold, then the smoke is keeping the cold air down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's colder because of all the smoke in the air.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's awful.
It is
to even think about it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea it had ever happened. Never heard of it.
Wow. That was a good opener for our second season.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to season 2.
We should change the name from Trigger Warning to Wow, that's depressing.
Yeah, maybe we will. No, we're not going to.
It's
Trigger Warning.
Yeah. But that was a good story, dude.
Thank you. It was quite something to look into.
Yeah.
And they have like a museum, Peshtigo Fire Museum there.
Oh, wow.
And they had some really cool stuff, a lot of information and firsthand accounts and pictures.
Oh,
so that's in the sources if you guys want to go look at it. They're really old pictures, so they're...
Oh, of course, yeah, grainy, black and white.
But it's still like, it's just flattened. There's just nothing
That's
there.
So scary. Well, and I mean, when you see the pictures now of California's wildfires every year, it's terrifying.
It is.
It looks like a hellscape when you see people like trying to leave and evacuate in cars, and the hills are on fire, and they're driving toward it to escape on a highway.
And they're in this thick smoke that you can't even see 5 feet in front of the car.
Yeah, and
it's orange on either side of you because.
And we've been talking about like everybody forgetting about that, but the the year that COVID hit, 2020 in March, January of 2020, Australia was fighting wildfires like crazy.
That's true. They were.
They were having a hell of a time.
Yeah.
And I bet a lot of people don't remember that because when
of
COVID
COVID.
hit, everybody kind of forgot.
Well, yeah, because
I'm
time
sure the
stopped
people in Australia
essentially.
did not forget
No.
because they were still dealing with it.
And
But
dealing with COVID.
yeah, but so yeah, I guess life goes on for other people. They just
Well, and if it doesn't directly affect you on
yeah,
a daily basis,
right,
I think part of it is a protection for our own minds.
yeah,
Because if you sit and think about every bad thing, you can't. You're just going to be frozen in fear and not do anything.
right,
We have to protect our brains from that
yeah.
and
That's
our
true.
emotions as well.
That's true. I think that's why. I mean, that's why podcasts like this exist.
Agreed.
Because it's kind of a way to honor those kind of things and remember them, and then kind of let go too.
Right.
It's like you want to think about them. You want to be like, oh my god, that's wild. It's amazing people survived. It's sad, and then you can kind of let it go because you can't just retain all that. It's too much.
Right. And if you think about it, if they had about 1,700 people in that town, 800 died.
Right.
But there are still people living in that town because it has rebuilt and they're doing well. They're still a small town, but obviously not that small.
Right.
And there's people there that have family, like they are descendants from these people.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that's another thing with podcasts too is you're teaching another generation.
Right. Exactly.
That wouldn't know. And we have access to so much information, but it's so much information.
Yeah. And I think because it's a lot of information and because it's online, it seems you seem removed from it or you feel like it's distant and it's not real people or something.
Right.
But that's why I'll make a joke here and there, but it's still people. And even though this was in the 1800s, like you said, there are descendants of the people there, and
Right.
I'm sure the stories passed down. And there's a museum there. They probably can go and see their great 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 whomever
Right.
that survived or didn't survive or whatever. And it's you just have to remember that even though it's on the internet, it doesn't make the person less real that
Right.
had to go through something.
Well, I think that's a lot with history in general. A lot of people don't like history, and I think it's just because it seems so removed from us.
Right.
Because it is removed from us.
Right.
But history comes back around. We can learn from it still.
Yeah.
And we have learned because of all these things that they learned from this fire.
Mm-hmm.
So it still affects us every single day.
Yeah.
It's just not something we think about often, or we just don't know about it.
A lot of our safety is written in blood, unfortunately.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the, airline safety and building codes and,
well, that's
transportation safety and all kinds of stuff, medical stuff, is because somebody else didn't survive something and they changed the rules for it.
Well, you'll see some stupid warning on something. You're like, how many people had to whatever
suffer or die
before they had to put this on there?
Right.
And unfortunately, that is the way it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't change it until something bad happens, usually.
Right. Exactly.
Especially if you don't know a lot about it. Like, obviously, people had been out in the West, I don't know for how long exactly, but, what they were doing was just way different. So.
Yeah. I mean, the people that were there then, they were just trying to live, just trying to survive, farming, doing the railroad thing, doing timber, just trying to make a living and support their families. And,
yeah. And you know what's crazy? 50 years later, they're going to have the Dust Bowl.
Right.
Out yonder.
Out yonder, yep.
Probably not exactly in that area, but it affected...
Yeah, and the Dust Bowl would teach them more about crop rotation.
About
and
what to do
and
not
like
to do.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think.
Yeah, tell us stuff. I guess email us at triggerwarning411@gmail.com.
Yeah, guys.
And I'd give you the social media stuff, but I really don't get on it, so I don't know if I'm going to even keep that stuff going.
Yeah,
honestly.
we don't know. So email is the best way to get in touch with us.
Yes, it is.
Please send the email.
Unless you know us personally.
In which case, text us. It's all cool.
It's all cool.
We don't mind.
If you don't know us personally, email us until you do know us personally.
And then you can text us.
Convince us you're our number one fan.
But not in a creepy way.
Yeah, that's weird.
Please.
Don't do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
You don't want to be our next subject.
All right,
All right.
guys. So that was the first
Peshtigo.
episode of season 2, the Peshtigo Fire.
Yes, welcome back. And hey Diz.
Hey, Bev.
Hey, tell them that thing.
Oh my gosh, you guys, do you remember?
It's been a whole month.
Watch for deer.
Watch for deer.
Watch for deer.